The polls have Clinton still in the lead. But we know that one of the best predictors of what's going to happen in the election is the stock market, which has been correct 86% of the time. So I just if the stock market, as it says here, so you look at what the S&P 500 has done in the 3 months before the election. So the election will be on November 8th. We want 3 months before November 7th. Which is August 7th, and wherever the market closed there compared to where it closed October 7th. And if we go here, we can see the stock market. And if I look October 7th, October 7th was a weekend. So October 5th was the Friday, which is the closest we have to August 7th. So then the market's closed at 2182.87, it says here. I thought it was 2181.6 on another site, but I'm looking at this now, so I'll use what it says. The main thing is we are now at 2139, which is substantially lower. So so basically the stock market is clearly lower now than the closing price 3 months before the election day. There's still less than a month, but there's still time. It could turn around, but it's down, and so this would be a signal that Trump should win. And we've seen other analysis maybe where it looked at slightly different time periods, and the market's down either way. Essentially, if the stock market goes down, it affects the polls as well. So if the stock market goes down, the polls go down roughly 1 or 2 weeks later. So we'd expect, at the moment, we began with Clinton's in the lead in the polls, but if the stock market falls, then that should boost Trump. So where does that leave me? I've got, on the one hand, the stock market still, which has a good track record. I mean, it's over 80%, telling me that it could be Trump. On the other hand, the polls are saying, Clinton is in the lead with the polls. Not only that, the betting markets are very strongly signaling that it's going to be Clinton. So we've got the polls and the betting markets saying it's going to be Clinton, and the stock market saying it's going to be Trump. Though the stock market can change. The official, that 80% prediction is made if the market is below, say, 2180-ish on November 7th, or so later. The stock market could move up and change direction. And you can see on the top left, the S&P now is 2118. So as I record this video, the US markets haven't opened yet. So it was 21.39 yesterday. It looks like it's going to be below 21.20 today. So that's an even lower level for the stock market, which makes it harder for it to go up enough to turn things around. So then I went, okay, how accurate are the polls? You know what I mean? Do you have the polls saying, one person is 5% in the lead, and then when the actual election occurs, the other person wins? Because, that's what pollsters do. They are the experts in this area. I can believe, I instinctively have far greater faith in the pollsters than any other method, because that's, as I said, that's what the pollsters do. They sample people, they measure, and then if they get it wrong, they kind of go, why did that go wrong? And then they try and improve. So yeah, and they've been doing this for quite a while. So it's not like this is the first election we've ever had. So then I looked around, as in typed in how good are polls at elections or something like that into Google, and I found this page. So, the link is in the description below the video. This tells us what the polls said and what happened. It goes back a long while. I'm only going to look at the more recent ones. So say 1988. Gallup said that Bush had 56 versus Dukakis 44. I'm actually old enough that I remember that, or I more remember the name rather than particularly following it. So in the end, Bush got slightly less and Dukakis got slightly more, but it was correct. Like, the polls were saying Bush was going to win, and Bush won. 1992, the poll said Clinton was going to win, and Clinton won. He actually got far lower. They were expecting 49%. He only got 43.3%. 1996, Clinton again. The poll said Clinton would win, and Clinton did win. Again, he got slightly less than they expected. So more of them, so Perot got slightly more. But the polls were right. 2000. Bush 48, he actually got 47.9. Gore got a little bit more. But Gallup predicted that Bush would win, and he won. Not many left. 2004. Though that's strange, in the 2001, I thought it was closer, and in particular, as it says here, like, Bush won, but he actually got more votes. Gore actually got more votes. He actually got 48.4 to 47.9. Because remember, that was the year that the president was decided by Supreme Court. So Bush-Kerry, it was neck and neck. At 49-49 from the polls, Bush won. So, I mean, the polls were right in that the answer was they were very close, but they were unable to actually say who was going to win. Now we're nearly there. Obama-McCain, they had Obama to win, and Obama won. So aside from the Bush-Gore one, where it had Bush to win, and he did win, but the actual vote had Gore to win. So the polls were wrong there. Obama-McCain, yeah, so Obama won. Obama-Romney, the polls had Romney to win, while in the end Obama won. So they're not 100%, though they are very good. So even in the last election, Gallup had Romney just ahead, while Obama won by 4%. So that's the kind of level of accuracy that we have from the polls. So if you have a clear-cut victory, here, Obama-McCain, there was a 9% gap, well, then it gets it right. If it's neck and neck, Gallup is unable to say, so it's not right or wrong. Bush-Gore, it got it wrong. So it had a 2% gap. Actually, the result was the other way around, though Bush did become president. So looking at this collection, this history of presidential elections, if the polls have, say, a greater than 3% gap, well, then the polls get it right. And that's why, they do say plus or minus 3. In particular, the 2001, they had Bush with a 2% lead, while it was actually wrong. So that's just a question that was bugging me, particularly given, I was always mentioning that if the stock markets go down, well, then that's, and they are at the moment, then historically that signals a victory for the opposition party. On top of that, typically, if a party has been in power for 2 terms, it's hard to win the 3rd term. Because basically people have had enough, or people don't want one party to be kind of too settled. So does that tell me who's going to win? Well, it just helps me. Well, I'm aware that we've got these conflicting signals. The stock market is, which has been a very good predictor, the stock market is still signaling Trump to win. And looking at this, I can kind of go, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on the polls. And basically, as we go into the vote, November 7th, like the day before the election, if the polls say that Clinton is in the lead by 3% or more, then I have confidence that Clinton's going to win. So I'll still have access to the betting markets the day before the election and even the day of the election, I imagine. At the moment I'm still unclear, and I've re-entered the betting market backing Trump, because essentially, and that's what I'll be looking at next, I want to see, does the betting market forecast the polls? So basically, if I look at the betting market, I'll be able to see when Trump peaked, the date when Trump had the highest probability of becoming president. Then I can look at when did Trump peak on the polls. So basically, I know that the stock market forecasts the polls. So the stock market is falling now. And so I know, or have confidence, that I'm going to see the poll jump for Trump in the next maybe 10 days, since the stock market forecasts between 1 and 2 weeks in advance. If the betting markets are just people following the polls, then the betting markets will be wrong. The betting markets at the moment will be thinking, oh, I'm looking at the polls and Clinton's in the lead, and so basically Clinton's won, and the odds for Clinton to win collapse. But as the stock market falls, the polls for Trump should improve, then the betting markets, the odds should change. And that is a potential trade. So I want to bet that Trump's going to win, or Clinton's not going to win. And then, as Trump's odds go up in maybe 1 or 2 weeks' time, though Trump's odds will go down, and I'll be able to bet the other way. Fingers crossed.